Good morning, everybody. I'm Eureka John. And you're at Eureka Street Crypto, broadcasting live on float.app. That's flote.app at 5:43 in the morning, November 8th, 2021. It's a Monday. And yeah, start the week out right. And as you can hear, my voice is pretty congested, so I'll try my best to say intelligible things this morning. I didn't broadcast all weekend. That would be Saturday and Sunday, because I left my laptop sitting right here at home on the desk. So yeah, normally whenever I travel, I bring my laptop with me and I try to stream or at least record an episode and upload it and to try to keep the everyday streak going. But my everyday streak did not keep going. I did test out a new streaming app though called StreamYard. I'll show you that real quick. StreamYard. Let's see here, and it's a really good podcasting streaming app. If you want to do your own podcast and either record it or stream it live, it can automatically stream to YouTube for you and other streaming engines. So like Twitch and stuff like that, Facebook, whatever, Twitter even. So yeah, check this one out. There's other ones. There's Zencaster, which I tried. I did in my last interview with the Metaverse Think Tank, and that did really well. There's Restream.io, and I think that one's more geared towards streaming simultaneously on a bunch of platforms. And then there's let's see, Riverside FM. That one seemed to have a lot of latency issues. And then there was let's see, is Riverside, Zencaster. There's another one that I'm missing. Oh, Squadcast, and I haven't tried that one out yet. So yeah, if you're interested in starting your own show and podcasts and stuff like that, I've just been using OBS and I've been streaming on Theta Network, either that or YouTube, or and then now lately float.app. I might go back and check out Theta Network again because I was having some latency issues over there. But I hear there's been a lot of updates lately, so I might go back because I have a pretty good audience over there. On float.app, it's pretty dead as far as the chat is concerned whenever I'm streaming live. But anyway, I don't want to get you all bogged down in the technicals. I did test this out and it worked pretty good. Let's go back over here to CoinGecko. But yeah, this is my video blog. I'm on episode 320 now. And I try to do this every single day. I guess I cut my streak this last weekend, but I was on a streak between February 6th and now. And did it every single morning without skipping a beat. I've been doing this video blog since October 24th, 2020, and it's really just me documenting my progress and everything I'm learning about the crypto space because the crypto space has been changing so much if you haven't noticed. You know, crypto, as you see here, look at the price. Hold on, I got to refresh this because it's not 65,000 anymore. This is an old price, or maybe it is. All right, but either way, 65,000, 4,726. I believe at one point I think I saw it at 67,000. But it's just insane. Things are blowing up. Solana is creeping up here above Cardano and all that stuff. There's a lot of stuff happening in the crypto space. It's being adopted by large institutions. I was explaining to my wife about, on the way home from the beach, about crypto, and she's like, she's actually, 100% interested in it now, when before she was just kind of blew it off and, talked, a lot of people kind of, her and her friends or whatever, they view it as like a combination of sports and astrology for men, and it's not really the case. There are a lot of women in crypto too, and crypto really is changing the world and it's changing our financial space, but not just finance. I mean, it's changing economics. It's incorporating programming, and programming is the new literacy in a way. At least be literate with smart contracts, game theory, finance, in the whole decentralized aspect of it. It's revolutionizing the banking industry because if it's not supplanting the banking industry at least now are taking notice and starting to implement crypto and decentralized finance into their how they operate into their operations. So even Visa and MasterCard are buying crypto and Bitcoin, and now they are starting to make ways to accept crypto. And I believe it was Visa that bought a CryptoPunk NFT and put it on their treasury, put it in their treasury. So it's pretty insane stuff going on right now. I was explaining to her about the Bitcoin halvings, how they happen every 4 years, and it's been kind of predictable. These bull runs, these super bull runs, about 18 months after the halving. Well, the last halving was May 2020, and then 18 months later is November here, as we can see, and here we are on the super bull run again. And this will probably last, in my estimation, a couple months at most, and then things will drop back down to a nice, comfy little spot for a while. But I'm not into price prediction and technical analysis. I'm just into the fundamentals and dollar cost averaging and hodling. And dollar cost averaging means you buy no matter what the market looks like, and you just ride that steady wave up instead of trying to catch the dips and all that rowdy stuff. So yeah, but with this last halving hasn't been like all the previous halvings. All the previous halvings, Bitcoin and Ethereum were still just geeky magic internet money, and now this last halving, we've seen decentralized finance come into play and be born. We've seen the banking institutions take notice. We've seen large hedge funds and financial institutions, Grayscale and all that stuff, Goldman Sachs, take notice and be buying Bitcoin and adding it into their portfolios. The SEC just approved a Bitcoin index fund, ETF. So yeah, there's been a lot of rowdy stuff going on with crypto and Bitcoin. Now the whole NFT craze, and this NFTs aren't just about art. It's about the tokenization of everything and being put on the blockchain. And I was telling my wife, I was just like, Bitcoin. I was like, what crypto and Bitcoin sells is truth. It sells an immutable source of truth. If you have a truly secure and decentralized network, and Bitcoin so far is the most decentralized and truly secure network, then that block space is truth. I go, Bitcoin probably won't be used to buy a cup of coffee and your pizza and your everyday, everyday currency. Bitcoin will be used for the place in the far future where nation states do treaties back and forth. People send trillions of dollars back and forth, or whatever currency is being used at the time. And Bitcoin will be the source and the proof of that transaction. And that's what I think Bitcoin will be. Ethereum will be more of the world computer platform, and Ethereum Layer 1 will be where the institutions and the whales, the large holders of Ethereum, will trade back and forth and settle out all the little mini transactions that happen on Layer 2. So it's 2 layers, I believe Ethereum will be. Some will be native to Ethereum, and others will be other blockchains working with Ethereum, doing more niche tasks. That's the way I envision it. And then I believe AI is going to take a part and a place in all this as well. Artificial intelligence is a part of all this huge boom. So I believe it's really crucial to understand AI, because I've read about projects like Fetch.ai, AGI Singularity Net, which is an AI application marketplace that's decentralized. So Google and Samsung and Apple and all these other large companies don't just monopolize all the amazing AI tech that we have out there, but AI tech is really becoming something that is getting pretty crazy. I've watched the videos of the GPT-3, the AI response, native language response engine, in which you can ask it questions and it responds like not with a database, and it's not just searching for standard answers in a database. It formulates its own language through language models, and it formulates its own responses and stuff like that. And some of the responses are absolutely absurd and childish, and other responses are mind-blowing. And I've been reading this book, and I found this in my Twitter feed, and it's called The Age of AI. It's by Henry Kissinger, Eric Schmidt, and Denial Huttenlocher. I don't know who these other two are, but Henry Kissinger, he must be like 1 billion years old by now. But the guy's been everywhere. He's been everywhere from Grenada to Panama to Vietnam to to Iraq to the guy's had his hands in every single war and major treaty and CIA type of uh, I don't know, involvement in throughout modern history. It's the guy's like been everywhere. So if anybody were to know about how AI is going to be incorporated into modern government and warfare and everything like that, it'd probably be this dude in a way. And I don't, and like I said, I don't know who these other guys are, but apparently they're some pretty um, amazing modern thinkers. Either way, I started reading this book since I had no computer to work from. And sometimes it just helps, to unplug a little bit. I mean, I didn't fully unplug. I still have my phone, and I still, went on Discord and talked with people in Dallas. But I still read finally a paper book. It helps. It really there is a difference between seeing something on the screen and actually reading something on paper. I feel like there's a different way of absorbing the information. Hold on, let me get a sip of my kombucha. But this book, you know, it basically I'm at the point. I'm still at the beginning, so I'll be coming back to you guys about this book as I plow through the book. But yeah, I'm like 50 pages in. Um, so, but I mean, they've already covered some stuff. They're really kind of just going through the basic historical, philosophical, cultural, economic, political landmarks throughout history, and kind of outlining where human intelligence has been during that time, and human thought patterns, and what we believe in rational versus divine thought and stuff like that. And they talk about that whole Alpha Zero chess player, artificial intelligence chess player that was developed. And they had like 100 of the greatest chess players in the world try to play against this Alpha Zero, and then they had a previous database type of chess player program played that was based on human all the human movements were inputted into this database that could be possible. So a computer program would have this database of programmed movements available to it, and would try to choose, and against humans for the most part it could win. But against this new AI engine, which thought differently, it does not have a database of programmed movements. It makes up scenarios and movements in its head. And they found that yeah, the database driven version of the computer chess player could be beaten, but Alpha Zero could not. It beat the database version. It beat all the world's the top chess players, the human chess players, many times over, and it formulated new moves that in the 1,000-year history of chess have never been thought of before. That's a lot of people who are really good at playing chess, and chess has been around a long time. And these moves have never been thought of. The Alpha Zero AI chess engine would sacrifice what people would normally think are key chess players in order to use a new strategy that nobody's ever thought of in the history of chess to win the chess games. And it basically went to a realm beyond human understanding to see something that we can't see, and then apply it back into our human realm of human understanding. So that's a whole other ball game right there, and it's a whole other dimension of untapped knowledge that we are tapping into. And so I just it's kind of blowing my mind a little bit, and it's a little scary to think about where AI is taking us. But it's inevitable and it's unavoidable at this point, unless we just completely turn off the world and the internet. And we wouldn't have crypto, we wouldn't have Bitcoin, we wouldn't have anything modern, any of our modern conveniences. However, I do believe convenience is kind of the work of the devil sometimes. But all right. So anyway, let me read a little bit of this. So they start with, this is where I really started to click with it, and because it was kind of boring at first. They start talking about Immanuel Kant, and I've tried to read Kant. That's Kant, and Kant is really hard to read. And if you have ever tried to read any philosophy, there's some easier ones like Kierkegaard, and then there are these really difficult ones like Kant. And I have the Kant in a critique, a critique of pure reason, sitting on my bookshelf, and I have not tried to touch it since grad school. I tried to touch it in grad school, and it was just, I got like a few pages in. I was just like, dude, I can't do this, man. But I'm sure there's probably somebody out there be like, "Yeah, it's easy stuff, man." Anyway, but now I'm kind of understanding what it's about because of the way they explain it here. So Kant, in his critique of pure reason, he proposed that reason should take on anew the most difficult of all its tasks, namely that of self-knowledge. Yeah, self-knowledge is kind of hard. Um, you have, what is it, Johari's window. You have what you know about yourself, what other people know about you, what you know about other. I can't remember Johari's window. All right. If I saw it, I remember. But it's mainly just about self-knowledge and self-perception, and you being able to grow and mature as a person is to be able to step outside of yourself and see yourself as other people would see you, and that is a really difficult task to do as you grow through life, and it takes a lot of trial and error. So, according to Kant's account, human reason had the capacity to know reality deeply, albeit through an inevitably imperfect lens. Human cognition and experience filters, structures, and distorts all we know, even when we attempt to reason purely by logic alone. So, no matter how hard we try to use reason, to deduce things in the scientific method, and today's events about, follow the science, and basically using science as a dictatorial hammer to try to say it's infallible, that if the government improved science is infallible, is ridiculous. The scientific method is all about a continued progression of discovery, and it is always changing. There's no such thing as infallible science, or immutable science. But they're saying human cognition and experience filters, structures, and distorts all we know, even when we attempt to reason purely by logic alone. And there's no matter how hard we try, our human reason or our human cognition and experience will screw up any type of scientific experiment in what we try to identify as pure reason. So, objective reality in the strictest sense, what Kant called the thing in itself, is ever present. So, objective reality is out there, but inherently beyond our direct knowledge. But as human beings, we can't ever see that objective reality that is out there, and we can only perceive objective reality through our narrow lens of our human thoughts and our human mind and our human sight and smell and five senses, and maybe even sixth if you want to count intuition. But there is that objective reality, but as far as human beings, we can only observe it through what we've been given, and so it's ever present as well, but it's inherently beyond our direct knowledge. Our direct knowledge, five senses, sixth intuition. Kant posited a realm of noumena, or things, in quotes, things as they are understood by pure thought, existing independent of experience or filtration through human concepts. So pure thought would be something out of our realm because we always have this filter of human concepts going on. However, Kant argued that because the mind relies on conceptual thinking and lived experience, it could never achieve the degree of pure thought required to know this inner essence of things. So throughout human history, we've never been able to achieve this. That's why even the Bible says that we are all imperfect. If we were perfect, we would be able to achieve and view and envision that complete rational thought that is out there, that reason, that inherent reason. But we're not. As human beings, we are all imperfect creatures because we're only given the five senses and the sixth intuition. So, Kant argued that because the human mind relies on conceptual thinking and lived experience, it could never achieve the degree of pure thought required to know this inner essence of things. At best, we might consider how our mind reflects such a realm. So we may maintain beliefs about what lies beyond and within, but this does not constitute true knowledge of it. So we might have a hunch, right? And then in the whole analogy of Plato's cave, you have the prisoners in the cave, and then you have the fire, and then all those people in the Plato's cave can see is just the reflection of things happening up above the cave door, and just shadows of what is real. And they perceive those shadows as reality. Those shadows aren't the real thing. They might kind of have a vague, fuzzy outline, but they aren't the real thing. So anyway, At best, we might consider how our mind reflects such a realm. So, how does our mind view that perfect reality? We may maintain beliefs about what lies beyond and within, but this does not constitute true knowledge of it. So, for the following 200 years after Kant, because this was like the 1700s or so, Kant's essential distinction between the thing in itself and the unavoidably filtered world we experience hardly seemed to matter. So, uh, basically it doesn't matter because there's nothing outside of human experience that can see that ultimate reason, so all we have as humanity is what we are able to see. So while the human mind might present an imperfect picture of reality, it was the only picture available. What would the structures of the human mind what the structures of the human mind barred from view would presumably be barred forever. So, at that point, up until recently, we've just had to accept that that's all we have available, and that's all we will ever have available. So, what the structures of the human mind barred from view would presumably be barred forever, or would inspire faith and consciousness of the infinite. So, when we hit that point where we have believed, where we have been able to observe all we can about rationality, that's where faith kicks in, and that's where we have been leaning on faith and religion and all that stuff in order to explain the stuff that is beyond what we are able to view within our five senses and intuition. And I do believe intuition is kind of connected to that infinite reality. So, without any alternative mechanism for accessing reality, it seemed that humanity's blind spots would remain hidden, right? So forever we're just stuck in this human predicament where we have only the senses that we're working with in order to analyze the best we can of this outside reality outside of our senses, but we still see what we observe as 100% truth, and it's not. So whether human perception and reason ought to be the definitive measure of things, lacking an alternative for a time. Okay. Whether human perception and reason ought to be the definitive measure of things, lacking an alternative for a time, they became so. All right, so. Yeah, human perception and reason became what we perceived as truth. All right. And because there was no alternative. All right, so then it says, but AI is beginning to provide an alternative means of accessing and thus understanding reality. So as I mentioned, that chess player, the AlphaZero AI chess engine, saw a reality that we are unable to see. And then it applied it, it dipped into that reality. And it's like casting a line into the water when you're fishing. You're out here in this reality, in the dry world, and you cast a line in there and you fish and you pull a fish out of that reality into our reality. And that is what basically what AI is doing, and what it did when it was playing chess. It dips into that reality and then it finds a solution that we're unable to see with our five senses, and then it pulls that back into our world and uses it to play the game with us and to beat us basically. And and so it provides us a tool to access a reality other than our own. So it's pretty amazing. It can be pretty scary when thought of in terms of war, if it perceives one side as an enemy, and then it taps into that alternate reality in order to figure out a way to win the game. Just like in the game of chess, it sacrifices a valuable player, but with the end goal of winning a war, where humans would step in and say, hey, this is not right. We can't sacrifice, all these people over here in order to win this overall war. So because artificial intelligence has no ethics, so I don't know, and then they used a case of vaccines in there, like AI was able to find vaccines for bacteria that we've never been able to find before, stepping into a different reality and solving problems that humans aren't able to see. So I don't know, it's pretty interesting. And then when I put it into context of things like Fetch AI, so fetch.ai, and Fetch AI is a blockchain technology that is based on Well, the practical use of this technology right now is based on using these autonomous economic agents and the AEAs, and those are bits of artificial intelligence that would be built into all types of devices, including cell phones, put everywhere like parking garages, train stations, and stuff like that. And the whole point is to be able to optimize human behavior. And then, as you are going about life and you want to find the best way to get from Austin to New York City, for instance, without having to go through and search on your computer, finding the best place to stay and everything like that, Fetch AI will find it for you and find the most optimal route. And then as you're traveling, will adjust accordingly. Or say you want to park in a parking garage, and the parking garage that you need to park at, that you had in mind to park at, is full, but all these autonomous economic agents everywhere will be measuring each parking garage all around the city, and it will find you the best parking garage with the most available space, and then it will guide you towards that and ping you to park in this other parking garage over here. So if you were to park in the parking garage that you had originally planned to park in, you won't receive the fetch tokens for that, and you might actually receive a hit on your fetch token wallet if you were to go the way that you thought you should go. But if you were to go the way that the AI suggested you go and park in the spot that is the best for all of human society, whether it be for carbon usage or whether it be for optimization of space and time, and you followed the AI's instructions and you parked where that AI bot told you to park, then you will get fetch tokens for following that optimized type of behavior. And it sounds pretty dystopian and pretty crazy. I can see how it can be useful as well. It can definitely save a lot of people time, but like I said, convenience kind of seems like a vice nowadays. And it's it's an insane project. It's a huge scope. It involves AI. It involves a bunch of AI bots making decisions for us, and in a way stepping outside of this reality that we know and stepping into its reality, then coming back into our reality and giving us the most optimized way of doing things. And in a lot of cases that's just fine. It will save us some time and energy and hassle and all that stuff. But at what point does this stuff start to control our lives? And that's something that we should all be aware of as AI grows, and we are using AI more and more every single day without even knowing it. And it's integrating now with blockchain technology with the ultimate sources of truth, right? So I don't know, just some interesting questions I have. I obviously am not trying to give a presentation and offer any answers or education or financial advice. I'm just raising these questions as they come along, and that's what this blog is about. So, I don't know. I'm going to keep reading that book, and tomorrow I'll probably come at you with some more solid news and cryptocurrency project updates and stuff like that. I was reading some pretty cool articles and Twitter threads over the weekend, and I have several things I want to share. But I did want to talk about this book here. I found it on Amazon, or I found it online, and I pre-ordered it. Actually, it just came out, so I would recommend reading it. I think it's healthy and important to know what's going on, even if you don't agree with some of the viewpoints or whatever. All right, well, I'm gonna head off to work and do my day job. I ain't quit my day job yet. So, all right, I will talk to you guys tomorrow.